On my birthday, I received a gift, and inside it was a tooth. In the days that followed, the gifts that arrived became even more terrifying. My name is Ethan Cole. I'm 28 years old. I live alone, and I design graphics for a small marketing agency downtown. I don't like birthdays. Never have. I hate being the center of attention. I hate the fake smiles, and I especially hate when people say make a wish. Every year I try to keep my birthday to myself. But this year someone didn't let me. No, it started like any other day. My mom called me early in the morning. "Happy birthday, sweetheart. Maybe this year you'll actually celebrate, huh?" Her voice was warm but tired. I just mumbled a "thanks, Mom," and hung up. I made coffee, opened my laptop, and got lost in work. By the time I decided to grab some groceries, it was already late afternoon. That's when I saw it. A small black box was sitting inside my mailbox. No shipping label, no return address. Just my name written in bold, clean letters across the top. Ethan. It was heavier than it looked, about the size of my palm. When I tilted it, something inside shifted. A faint clink, like metal brushing against glass. At first, I thought it was a prank. Ryan, my best friend, had a habit of leaving dumb little surprises for me. Or maybe it was Chloe, my ex. She still sent me random notes sometimes, for old time's sake. But something about this box felt wrong. I brought it inside and set it on my kitchen table. The house was silent except for the hum of the fridge. For a while, I just stared at it. Finally, curiosity won. I opened the lid. Inside was a smaller box, crimson red, tied neatly with a thin white ribbon. On top, a tiny note was attached. It read in perfect handwriting, "Smile." That single word made my stomach twist. Still, I untied the ribbon. When I lifted the lid, I froze. Inside, lying against black velvet, was a human tooth. At first, my brain refused to process it. It had to be fake, right? Some kind of plastic mold? But then I noticed the faint yellow tint, the jagged root, the little line of dried red near the bottom. It looked and smelled real. I slammed the lid shut and staggered back, knocking over a chair. My hands were shaking. Someone had mailed me a tooth. No, I didn't call the police. It sounded ridiculous even in my head. Who sends a tooth? Why to me? That night, I couldn't stop staring at the box. I thought about throwing it away, but something in me hesitated. Some twisted part of me needed to understand. Finally, I called Ryan. "Hey man, I got something weird today." "Weird how?" "Like a gift box, and there's a tooth inside." "What?" "A human tooth, Ryan. Are you drunk?" "I'm dead serious." He was quiet for a few seconds. Then, "All right, send me a picture. Maybe I can figure out what it is." But when I went to grab the box, it was gone. I searched everywhere. Table, trash can, counters, even under the fridge. Nothing. The box, the red ribbon, the note, gone. Like it never existed. For a moment, I actually wondered if I'd imagined it. Maybe I'd been working too much. Maybe I'd fallen asleep at my desk. But the smell, that faint metallic rotten scent, still lingered in the air. It had been real. Around 10:45 that night, my doorbell rang. I jumped. No one visits me that late. When I opened the door, the hallway was empty, except for another box, sitting neatly on the doormat. Same size, same shape. This time, no note. I didn't want to open it. Every nerve in my body screamed not to, but curiosity, or maybe fear, made my hands move anyway. Inside, there was no tooth. Just a single photograph. It was me, standing in my kitchen, looking down at the first black box. The same clothes, the same lighting, but I'd been alone when that photo was taken. Someone had been in my house. I turned the photo over. Written on the back, in that same perfect handwriting, "Smile, Ethan, we're just getting started." I locked every door, checked every window, left all the lights on. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. And at some point around 3 a.m., I looked out my window and saw someone standing across the street. A man. Tall, hood up, hands in his pockets. He didn't move, didn't speak, didn't even flinch when I stared right at him. He just stood there motionless, watching me. I closed the curtains. Didn't sleep that night. But when morning came and I finally stepped outside, there was a new envelope waiting in my mailbox. On the front, in the same handwriting, were just 3 words. "The second's ready." Someone out there knew me, my address, my schedule, and now, apparently, my past. I didn't go to work that day. I couldn't. I just sat in my kitchen staring at the envelope. After about an hour, I finally opened it. Inside was another small box, gray this time, scratched along the sides like it had been buried or burned. At the bottom, faintly carved into the surface, was a date, March 15th, 2005. I froze. That was my 10th birthday. For a few seconds, I just stared at the date, my mind empty. And then I remembered something. Not an image, more like a sound. Screaming. A man's voice, rough and angry. A woman crying. And then silence. My hands trembled as I lifted the lid. Inside was no tooth this time, just a piece of fabric. Faded blue, soft like old pajamas. And on the corner of it, a small dried bloodstain. I felt dizzy. A memory pushed at the edge of my mind. Something I hadn't thought about in years. That night, my 10th birthday. Mom had made a cake, just the two of us. Then, sometime after midnight, there was shouting downstairs. I remembered hiding under the bed. Then, nothing. When I woke up the next morning, the living room smelled like bleach. Mom said everything was fine, but it wasn't. No, I called Ryan again. Dude, it happened again. What happened? Another box. It has a date, my 10th birthday. There's blood on the fabric inside. He went quiet. Then in a low voice, Ethan, listen, do you remember your dad? My chest tightened. Barely. He left when I was a kid. No, he didn't leave. The silence on the phone felt endless. Ryan, what are you talking about? I think you should talk to your mom. There's something she never told you. No, I drove to my mom's house that afternoon. It's about 30 minutes from my apartment, but it felt like hours. When she opened the door, she looked older than I remembered. Tired, almost scared. Ethan, what's wrong? I need you to tell me the truth. About Dad. About what happened when I was 10. Her face drained of color. She didn't say anything for a long time. Then she turned away, walked into the living room, and sat down. I knew this day would come, she whispered. She handed me an old box from under the coffee table, dusty, taped shut. Inside were old photos. Me, Mom, and a man I barely recognized. My father. He wasn't a good man, she said quietly. He had problems. He hurt people. He hurt me. My stomach churned. So what happened that night? She looked at me then, tears in her eyes. He came back. You were asleep upstairs. He was drunk, furious. He said if I didn't open the door, he'd take you away. And? And I stopped him. Her voice broke. Ethan, I killed him. I buried him under the old oak behind the house. I stared at her, unable to breathe. You buried Dad?
I did what I had to do!
My head spun. I stumbled outside, gasping for air. The wind was cold, sharp against my face. That's when I saw it. A figure standing by the old oak tree in the backyard. Tall, still, watching. I blinked, and he was gone. But when I got closer, I saw something half buried in the dirt. A small red box. My pulse quickened as I picked it up. The same handwriting on the lid. Inside, nestled in velvet, was another tooth. But this one was smaller. A child's tooth. Attached to it was a note. You took mine. I took yours. I stumbled backward, heart racing. The air around me felt thick, heavy. I could almost hear whispering, like the soil itself was breathing. Then my phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Smile, Ethan. We share the same blood. I dropped the phone. The whispering got louder. I swear I heard his voice. My father's voice. You buried me. You thought it was over. And then silence again. I don't remember driving home. I just remember waking up on my couch at dawn covered in dirt. The boxes were all gone, every single one. Except for one thing. A small white tooth sitting neatly on my kitchen counter. Fresh. Still bleeding. My hand went to my mouth. One of my molars was missing. I dropped to my knees. And there, carved into the wooden floor beneath me, were the words, Smile, son, it's your turn. That was 3 days ago. I don't sleep anymore. Every night I hear scratching under the floorboards. Like someone digging their way up. I called Mom yesterday. No answer. This morning, I got another envelope in the mail. No name, no return address. Inside, a single piece of paper. Happy birthday, Ethan. And taped to it. A gray broken tooth. Not mine. Not hers. His.